know a couple of them and the ripple effects that from there. But also number two, working with people that are aggregating the database of farmers, meaning that they can access those farmers on your behalf because they've got those relationships with you at first round, and then you'll obviously get to know and interact with those farmers directly as time goes by. But it's generally around network, and then number two, going through people who work with farmers.
Great, amazing. All right, let me get into Khotso, who seems to be having a drink wherever he is. In the name of gin. I think you should unmute yourself before you answer my question. I'm muted.
Oh yeah, hi, how you doing?
There we go.
Good, thank you.
I'm good, how are you?
I'm well,
I think you're having a very good time. A great time. Tell us about Legacy 63 Gin.
Legacy 63 Gin, the taste of Soweto. But I think before we get into that, I'd like to send a message to all the ladies and the women of this country that have been abused by men, to say personally as a man that we are sorry that you guys had to endure pain because of our brothers. We are sorry for the mistakes that we've made. And I'd like to pledge to all the brothers out there to please stop abusing women, please stop killing women, take care of our women, take care of our children. We could be better men, we could be better husbands, we could be better uncles. This is a plea to all my brothers out there, the pleas to the uncles and the fathers that raised us in this generation, just to say, can we change our ways? Can we be better? Let's do the right thing by our women. The taste of Soweto, the idea, let me tell you just a bit of a background. My mother owns a township, a tavern, and that's where I learned how the alcohol business worked. And this is something that has been part of the family, something that we've been wanting to get into. But obviously, whatever that we were selling, we bought from outside people. We bought from the bigger companies, and then we can make a bit of a profit. And everybody knows the alcohol business has very low margins. My wife came with an idea to say, let's come up with our very own product that we can offer within the South African market, that we can sell within this business, and we can bring business back into the township economy. We can employ, we can educate our consumers the importance of buying local, and also the stacking of the benefits in so doing.
Amazing, amazing. I think it's quite a bold step that you took, because there's so many brands, besides gin brands, there's so many alcohol products and brands that are available in the market. What do you feel sets you? How has the response been and feedback from maybe bars or taverns, fellow taverns that are supposed to be buying your product to sell to the public?
I think what sets us apart is our mission statement. If you look at our bottle, it's written Iginietu, meaning this is our gin. It's not Khotso's gin. It's not anybody else. People. This is the kind of product with a fellow neighbor. I come from a background where you can go next door and ask for soap, you can go next door and ask for sugar, you can go next door and ask for anything that you needed. And now we're living in times where sharing, it's a taboo. And people have gotten to a point where if they have something, it's so difficult for them to share with other individuals. And creating this particular product, it was to bring back Ubuntu, to bring back what united us initially, to exactly what made us strong, and then to what we need to do going forward in ensuring that we learn the ability to about the guy that, for example, gets a promotion, he shares amongst friends. That is our gin. It belongs to us. What sets us different is exactly our mission statement. Also, the product is infused with 8 botanicals. Also, the beauty of the product is that it's smooth, and also it's not a hard gin. very nice in texture. This is a product that we designed, myself and my wife, for non-gin drinkers. And if we can capture that market, we can be able to be, we could be able to grow, because if you look at the township market, the beer dominates more than any other product. And my main aim was to bring a different product within the township, but that is very quality, and that is associated to Soweto. The bottle itself, I don't know if you can see from there.
Yes.
The bottle itself, here you got 2 towers. You got the Orlando towers. And also we designed the bottle in a shape of a tower itself to bring that township, especially Soweto, feel to it. And you can see the African colors are also embracing the bottle itself. We made it a little bit more bigger to be able to share amongst friends. There's no such thing as a gin drinker. Everybody loves gin.
I hear you. I hear you. You sound like you're very passionate about the town farmers is through networks. Is that the box shop's approach for the people that retail their products in the hub that is the box shop?
Yeah, so I totally agree with Punzi's statement to say you always have to leverage on your network first and on your circle first. But also, I think you need to also cast your net a bit wider, especially if you're looking to scale your business. So I think at this current moment, we started with new through multiple programs that I actually ran and participated on when I was working with TechnoServe. And I think I've been able to kind of immerse myself into the industry of retail, clothes, fashion, design. And we've created strong affiliation with a jewelry, association. We've basically forged strong ties with the Cedars incubators, especially in the jewelry and accessory space. We have now formed a strong alliance with multiple designers to establish what we call a fashion cluster. And in that particular fashion cluster, we are able to kind of attract, our seasoned designers. But for me, I think, talking to both statements of Khoto and Pumzile is that my obsession is about local. I think it has grown from townships. We know that township basically dominate, the South African landscape in terms of urbanization. But I think for me, it's about how do we basically take our local products and begin to export them into international markets. And I think with the launch of the Box Shop Lifestyle website, funny enough is that we've been attracting international clientele. We've just dropped a parcel to Belgium of about 1,200 masks. We've just dropped 2 nice jackets done by our local designers to a Sweets, clients. And we've got a couple of clients outside of, the network of Soweto. I mean, another client that we had was from here in Wetkoppen. So it kind of tells us something that as much as we are we kind of want to get into the township market, there is a market that is more wider that we need to be attractive to. And I think we kind of have to start thinking around those lines to say, how do we become more appealing, not only to our South African market, not to our township market, but how do we begin to export our brand into international market, because we live among the global market or the global village.
That's amazing. That's actually a very amazing work that you're doing, because so many people are involved in what you do, which means that in exposing in exposing and widening your network, you are also exposing young people, people in the township, people in South Africa to a wider market as well. So I think it's a win-win for everyone. Now, Pumzile, I think your business style and structure with a pop box almost cuts down, like you said, on the time between when a customer gets fresh produce, right? So how do you then control, safety standards and just making sure that everything is healthy and fresh for people to consume?
Absolutely. 2 points. Number one, you have to be quite prescriptive as a buyer, and when you are buying, you have to have a couple of hats on. So number one, the quality that's related to the standards that you want to be associated with as a business and as a brand. But you also have to put your consumer hat on. You know, we are all consumers of one commodity, one way or another. And so it always helps to be a consumer of the things that you actually sell, for you to be able to have that intuition that is, it's not really scientific. It's based on you and what you know you like, what you enjoy, what you don't like, the preference that you would have towards a certain shop. Is it distance? Is it because of how you feel when you get into that shop? Is it, you know, how they treat you? Is it their packaging? You know, there's certain things that you know as a consumer you like. So therefore, you've got a little bit of insights that will guide you into what will work and what wouldn't work. Number two, it's also about being very hands-on. So as part of our operations, we've got routines where we physically go and collect produce ourselves onto the farms, and we call these farm visits. And it's an opportunity to get in touch, not only with the farmer from a relationship perspective, but also to check on quality. What is the latest thing that has been grown? Take pictures, because consumers are also very inquisitive on what that looks like. I mean, it's one thing for me to give you a good price point, or for me to get a good price point, and you buy the story behind what I'm saying from a value proposition perspective. And it's another to integrate me into that entire process. And with digital marketing and the accessibility of information, especially from a visual perspective, consumers are able to get into production lines far better than what they could. And it's also not a trade secret from an industry perspective. No longer do brands or corporates want to keep their production, as a secret, because they're afraid of, if anything, the more you open up about background information, the more people will gravitate towards you. So for us, being involved and actually having a relationship with the farmers, number one, but also interacting with the produce themselves and showing our consumers, enables us to do quality checks, enables us to also learn what other variances are out there, because you can actually grow you know, to your own specification. If you say I want a cucumber in an S shape or a straight cucumber, you know, you can dictate that. It's also a relationship-based conversation, but over and above that, you can see the operations that the farmer has, so therefore you can start also getting creative with them.
Amazing. Space that you're in, because you're able to work with so many farmers and to also assist them while also getting them to us, the customers. Now, Khotso, do you feel that the digital space has had anything to do with helping you get your brand out there, and yeah, getting it to a point that maybe you're happy with right now? Still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Sorry. I think with the impact of the coronavirus, we were all forced to look into the e-commerce space in terms of where do we belong, how do we reach a wider market, how do we give customers accessibility to our products while they say staying at home, and the ability to purchase our product, enjoy it, and obviously give us reviews. Right now, as we speak, we're busy with our app, where customers are going to be able to purchase our gin on our app directly. Also, they could purchase some of the apparels that we're selling, as I'm wearing the sweater. We've got the red, we've got the mustard, we've got all types of colors. And so what we've seen with clients is they want the convenience of buying things from home. So due to that, we're busy with the app. Due to that, we
give us her answer on that.
Okay. Our method has been through the current base that we have. So we've got a very loyal base. And when I mean loyal, and this is something that I really like to jump into, I want to educate a bit of our consumers when they buy into local product. And when they buy to local products within the value chain system, they're not able to create jobs. They're able to sustain the economy that we literally have. And that could be able to ensure that in the future is something a bit more bigger. And it's creating that opportunity for somebody to have a meal on the table when you buy legacy gin. What we've done is we've partnered with a lot of guys within the township that have a base of customers where they are selling on WhatsApp. We've got guys that are using WhatsApp to sell gin. They've created a community. So what we've done is we've given them a discount in buying the product from us, and then they're able to sell it within their market. And we see those guys coming over and over into our space. And also what we did is we sold through all social network pages. So we're quite aggressive on Facebook. We're very aggressive on Twitter. We're very aggressive on Instagram, just to make sure that we teach people. We also tell people we are there, because the alcohol business is the really bloody business. If you don't have presence with these major corporations, you do not find the opportunity to sell. So we've sold ourselves nicely, we've positioned ourselves nicely within that market, and we're able to make sure that we deliver to our client base. So we've got a loyal base. South Africans love our products. From Cape Town, we've got orders. From Durban, we've got orders. PE, we've got orders. Gauteng as a whole, we've got orders. And personally, I'd like to continue to ask, South Africans to really just support local products. It doesn't matter what is it that they may be selling. Now, the lady that is working with the farmers, now I know, I did not know her. And I use a lot of produce. I use a lot of, fruits. I use a lot of, things that I need to mix for my customers. Now I've got somebody who's a supplier within my market that I can touch base with and say, these are the number of things that I need. Can you be able to, procure those to me so that I could be able to offer that to my client base? And the moment we do this, we start sharing, we start building, we start communicating, we start creating these forums, is the quicker we grow, I think, as South Africans within the business economy in general. So that's how we will first deliver to our client base. Two, I like to encourage every single South African to buy into our products. Three, business to business, let's support each other. Let me find out what are you doing so that I could be able to support your business, you support my business, and we start growing.
Phumzile?
Absolutely, I do agree on collaboration, B2B opportunity that happens amongst businesses, even if it's not direct trade, but also recommendations. And I'm seeing quite a lot of that happening on social media, which has been very, very pleasant to see, that consumers themselves, even those that are not buying from you, just sending out messages of encouraging support to their followers. It's an amazing process to be involved in. But we also are in direct supply. We sell through WhatsApp, and it enables us to have a direct contact with the consumers, in the sense of estimated time of arrival, for example, pricing, how it works, if they've got particular questions. We're on demand in terms of being able to respond, so we use WhatsApp to communicate and to trade. And then from a marketing perspective, also social media, Instagram is my sort of go-to, and there is a direct correlation between when you put up ads on Instagram and the increase or decrease of your sales. So social media as a platform to advertise has been really, really great. And also we're going into the e-commerce space in a couple of weeks as well. We're busy integrating that into a site as a plug-in. And so the opportunity is just to be able to give consumers as many options as possible. I mean, you find that people want to pay, for example, through various ways because of what is available to them. Funny enough, it hasn't been cash quite a lot, which has been impressive. I think, because then we are conscientized around the safety points because of the era that we're in with COVID-19. So even though it's not necessarily cash, but you've got electronic forms of sending cash, which people gravitate towards, and it's quick, it's instant. EFT is also still very much prevalent. And so I found that the more you've got opportunities or different options of pay points, the more that you're able to give the consumer the power in their hands to interact with your product.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that buy products, especially through Instagram, through any digital platform, always say that communication is one of the challenges that they have with small business owners. You know, DM things like things like DM for price or WhatsApp me when I've spoken to you on the Instagram platform. So how do you guys navigate around that? Is communication and swift service something that you prioritize in your businesses?
Okay, sure. I'll go ahead. Yes, definitely. And it's also coming back to that point of you putting your consumer hat on as somebody that sells. I mean, I've experienced instances where even tone of voice would actually just put you off buying because of what you receive. You know, you expect to be treated a certain way, even though they can be a whole lot of information, so there's no need for further interaction, but it's not necessarily a welcoming environment. So I'm very conscious of that, and it's not necessarily because obviously WhatsApp is quite intrusive, you know. In fact, just this week, I was able to communicate with somebody for a couple of days, and I realized that I didn't actually look at their profile picture. And for me, it said something because I'm interested in the relationship that I have with you on a customer and quality perspective, and not necessarily on you as a person and intruding in your space. So even though I am on demand and I try to communicate with you each and every single step of the way, and to, you know, and across channels as well, you find that you communicate with the same person on both Instagram and WhatsApp at some points, and so you try to manage all those things and be on the pulse. But it's also just to maintain a good quality working relationship. That's very, very important to do that. But yeah, you have to be there, you have to be responsive on Instagram, and I find that, or other social media platforms, and I find that giving as much information on the front end first eliminates quite a lot. So by the time a person comes to you, they are convinced, really, you know. So it's empowering them, and some people want to lure you in terms of not giving a price at the beginning, you know. It's a selling process on its own, but you could have wasted time, and both you guys' time, you know. So I think, well, what works for me is price point first.
Khotso?
I think I can jump in quickly there while Khotso is organizing himself. And then for us, you know, to the point of the two colleagues, that's what I've noticed. I think, you know, it's a tough thing to do a transition from being a corporate individual into, you know, enterprising and being an entrepreneur. And, you know, swift responses are very important for you to be able to secure a client. And I think in South Africa, there is that trend where us as enterprises, we are not worth to be trusted because, you know, when a client actually send an email requesting your services, you cannot respond after 2 days or 3 days. And, you know, by that time, you have went off the client. So I think for us and for me, being, you know, at the box shop, because as much as we are operating the box shop, we do have other enterprises that we operate, me and my business partner. And I've learned to be as swift as possible, you know, close the deal there, right over there, and make sure that you don't take a bit of time to be able to interact with the consumer, with the client. Make sure that you send them the invoice or the quotation as they requested as soon as possible. Even though it does not guarantee you business at that time, But I think for me, it's very important that we become responsive. And that is a trend that I've been seeing with multiple enterprises in South Africa. And I think that needs to change. And working with entrepreneurs and trying to support them through our corporate gifting business, we also notice in the fact that when we are requesting things from enterprises, they tend to respond a bit late. And I think that's a trend that we need to kind of cut off and make sure that, you know, we bring them up to speed on how responsive they should be in terms of business.
100%.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect. I think there's two things for me. It's the issue of honesty, because consumers do not. I don't think they're yet at a point where they can fully trust small businesses, especially local businesses. So the issue of trust and integrity, I think, is paramount to how we give consumer confidence in buying any product or any key product from a local perspective. So when someone embosks you and says, listen, how much is a bottle of Legacy? How much can I buy it? And or maybe when you respond and say inbox, immediately the relationship, I think, no more. I think honesty, openness, be able to communicate with openness to all your client base. I think what have killed us is certain businesses that would, put different prices based on relationships that they have with a customer base, and somehow then that one particular customer will find out that than the previous customer. And that culture has happened in business. That culture continues to happen in business. And we must be honest as business owners that some of our business counterparts, they're not actually quite honest in dealings with the consumers. And also what I've seen within the market is that, and they put a certain price and they will guilt trip product. And once the product is bought, it's not the same quality as the price is. It doesn't match, the price doesn't match the quality, or the quality doesn't match the price. So either way, what we've done from our end, we identified the market that we wanted to tap into. There are jeans that are out there that go for as little as 250 rands, some 100 rands. And here we are coming with Legacy, and we're saying Legacy is 400 rands. And the only reason for that, it took us 2.5 years to actually create this bottle as is. It took us a very long time, tasting after tasting, creating the product that we knew was going to speak to a market that's going to say, I know what I'm going to drink. I don't mind paying the price. I want to work with the business that is honest enough to give me my price if I'm looking for. I'm a middle class. I'm a working class. I need a good product within the market. So this is what we did. But also what I would like to give as a warning to my fellow business owners is that please be honest with the consumers, and and when you know your product is not as expensive as it should be, do not price it out to be expensive in guilt, tripping the customer to buy. Be honest, give the right price, do your research. Your marketing must be target market. You know who your consumers are, and be able to ensure that when people think local, they must think of a culture that is opposite someone not giving me quality. They must think of quality. They must love the issue of buying local. At the moment, I'm wearing local from head to toe. And I've made a conscious decision to wear local every single day. I'm on a different path. Even the shoes, I'm going to be wearing local. The clothes, I'm going to be wearing local. I'm at the box shop. They're selling local clothing. So everything needs to be in that regard. But to all my fellow business owners, please, going forward, be cognizant of the fact that our customers are very sensitive. Be cognizant of the fact that they know they can buy it else out there, but they choose to support you. Make sure that you give them the best customer service. And ensuring in doing that, no one's going to ask you for a discount. No one's going to ask you for anything else you're not supposed to. Your product is of honesty, is of quality, and then they'll continue to buy. So that's what we represent, and that's why I ask also my fellow business owners.
That's very important. I think you all highlighted very important points. I actually once read a tweet that spoke about how maybe South African businesses, maybe Black businesses, should try and move away from the words support and focus on producing good quality, reasonably priced products and services so that people just buy. buy, use my services, learn more about what it is that I do and offer. And because there's a difference between supporting a person and actually buying from them. When you say that you're supporting me, it's almost as though it's a donation of sorts. So I can actually, it room to ask for that discount. It gives me room to say, no, this is only how much I have, and that's all I can give you, even though your item might be priced more than that.
It feels like backdoor negotiations, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It actually shouldn't be. But also, what we must fail not to do, we must educate our consumers about local products. I don't think they know enough. And that's why when you put a certain price, they're actually not even sure if that is the correct price. They'll negotiate anyway. And they're not even sure if that is the right product for that price anyway. So there's always going to be that interaction and that negotiation happening. But I think if we give our customers the meaning of what our product is and the work that it actually took to create that product, there's many brands that we have locally that have done that successfully to an extent where people don't mind paying that amount of money because they know the education, they have been taught, and they've seen the product growth of that particular product, and they're happy to be part of it. They journeyed with the product client. They journeyed all the way through. So it was the process. It wasn't something created yesterday and now all of a sudden, we just want this huge amount of money. But also we need to be honest with our consumers. Our consumers also are highly demanding when it comes to local products. When it comes to other products that are not local, they're not so much demanding. So it's also another, it's a catch-22 because we see them, they go into a Nike store and they will buy a pair of Nike, and they would go into a local brand like Batu, and they would still want to negotiate the price, but it's a catch-22. But what's important is about making sure that your product journey with your client, it must be known, the quality must be good, the price must be fair, business must be done in honesty and with integrity.
All right.
Hi guys, sorry, I'm late order.
Sfiso and Pumzile, do you think that there should be a relationship between the business and the founder, or that business owners should focus only on the product and the service that they offer? Does that really have any impact on whether people support your business or not?
Okay. Sure, I think it's a combination of the two. You don't always get to choose. What I know though is that as a business owner, you are selling a product which is an extension of yourself. So you are positioning this type of product or a service, and you've got your reasons why you want to do it. And that way you sort of upsell to customers, and they buy into the story over and above what it is that you're actually selling. And that is another way of getting clientele, because you are authentic, you are transparent, they know the why, which is value for people who want to part with their money. And because sometimes, a lot of the times, it's a passion point, you actually don't mind being the face of it because you understand it so much, you're putting heart to it, all of those emotional things. But at the same time, the reality is that you only have you. It's only up until a certain point where you can now get the services of an admin person, of a salesperson, a marketing person, back office types of resources. But until that point, yes, it's for the love of what you were doing because you started that business for that particular reason. But the reality is that you are the everything, every resource to your company, from production to distribution to packaging. Everything, you are the be all and end all, and so you're automatically infused into that. But we should work towards definitely scaling it to a point where the products or the services are known because of what you put into it, and that is the quality, the golden thread, everything that you are promising. But it does not necessarily have to be you because you've grown it to a certain size in the future.
Okay, Sfiso?
For me, I think I completely agree with the two colleagues to say you know, it takes a bit of time for business to kind of mature. And you know, I remember a story about Dimension Data to say for the first 5 years of their business, actually they didn't know which business that they were in. You know, they were trying to sell internet, but they really realized after 5 years that actually they're in the business of fiber, you're right, and they started to lay fiber and they become a profitable business. And from our end, the box shop as a brand, you know, and the box shop lifestyle particularly has you know, has been existing for the past 5 years. It's only in this 5 years where we're starting to see the light, right? Where we are starting to create meaningful collaboration. And I'll talk about our recent collaboration. So we've done a collaboration with DHL because we are in a tourist destination where a consumer can come to the box shop and buy a product and get that product shipped immediately into where they live or where they stay all over, you know, around the world. And for us, I think you can only push that far, and you know, you really need to create strong partnerships and collaboration along the way so that you can allow your business to scale. And also, I think for the first 5 years of your business, you are allowing your business basically to build its own systems and processes. And it is only then when you have systems and processes where you could be able to bring resources into your business and employ a bit of people so that you could be able to focus particularly, you know, in either fundraising or looking for additional business, because that's what business should be about if you're looking to scale. So it hasn't been easy, and I don't think that the route or the road or the journey of entrepreneurship is quite easy, but I think it's for the labor of love and passion that we have, where we also have a deep sense of passion that exists within us, where we really wanna, you know, drive the agenda of local and actually not really supporting local. I like that statement when you say, let's not support, but let's emphasize and let's ask people to actually buy local. And, you know, you can't force people to buy local if you are not really meeting their standards in terms of, you know, the delivery of savings. So I think that is very important. But for us, you need to be cognizant that business takes time, building a brand takes time, and you need to be consistent, and you need to be patient, and you need to continue to forge strong affiliation and partnerships.
Okay, I just said that I see Cass has just joined us. Can Cass say hi? If you can hear me, please unmute yourself so we can speak to you for a bit. Is he not?
He's joining, I can see on the screen.
Hi there, guys. Sorry, I'm so sorry about this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I'm so sorry about this. Technical problems all around. My bad.
No stress. Tell us about Soweto Surf, what it's about, what it means to you, what it means to the community.
In a nutshell, Soweto Surf is my life summed up in a nutshell. What it is access to things that are almost unimaginable. So it's reaching out to young people to offer young people the opportunity for access to things that they wouldn't necessarily link themselves to. So, for example, what I've been trying to sort of do with the fabulous box shop in Sofiso is launch a number of initiatives. So, for example, people skateboard, but do you realize if you skateboard, you can surf almost? So it's trying to sort of connect the two together, essentially. And those worlds are very different. The skateboarder world is very different to that of a surfer, but it's exactly the same in my eyes. So Soweto Surf is exactly that, sort of connecting one point to another point that people wouldn't necessarily think they could access. Above and beyond that, it also involves coaching young people to sort of think as global citizens. So I am no better off than you. I'm no worse off than you, despite how the optics look. As human beings, we are all created equal, and that's essentially the fundamental of Soweto Surf. So over the coming months, I plan to work quite closely with Sifiso to do quite a number of things. And the number of things are to set up something that becomes almost like embodied into Soweto that is recognized internationally, but not exclusively, sorry, that's not the right word, accessible and available to every young Sowetan. So this is a skateboard league. What I plan to set up are things like skateboard workshops, and over the coming months we'll sort of be so that's the plan, essentially, to kind of roll it out to give access to every young person, because you don't know if you're going to enjoy it until you try it. You don't know if you're interested in it unless it's accessible, and a lot of these things are just not accessible. So it's about giving access to something much greater than a skateboard, if that makes sense. It's about connecting people globally, essentially.
That's amazing. You're right. I think before someone actually tries something, they'll never know if they would actually enjoy it. Why Soweto out of every place in South Africa, out of every place in the world?
Because Soweto became part of South Africa. Is a very unique country, but let's put that aside. Let's come to Soweto. Back in 2008, I spent with my sons the best Christmas in Soweto. So at the time they were aged 6 and 10, and sorry, 6 and 11. And what was happening was, I was told to come to Soweto. One of my friends, his name is Africa, spelled with a K. He lives in Soweto, and he says, no, pass through, so pass through. And essentially, what he did was, like, at 12 o'clock, he just opened his door, he opened his gate, and I saw a community that I have never, ever sort of embraced or participated with, in terms of my sons left those gates. We went to every house on his street. And about 2 or 3 hours later, I actually forgot I had gone with my sons, because they forgot they had come with their dad. So by definition, globally, Soweto is an unknown. And when I mean an unknown, it's one of many things. It's a place of great cultural aspects, interest, history, but in the same breath, it's also associated, unfortunately, internationally with violence, and quite a number of things. So for me, it was like, because when I first went to Soweto, I was advised, you can't go there. You can't go there with your children. And the person I am, I was like, you can't tell me to do that. I need to experience it myself. So in my first experience, that became, in my whole life to this date, in December 2009, that was the best Christmas I ever had, full stop, with my sons. And trust me, we've been to many places where you'd think, okay, this is like the best. No, absolutely no. The best Christmas I've ever had is in Soweto. So that's why Soweto Surf.
Amazing. All right, I'm gonna ask this question to everyone, but I think the first two people that I think should answer it are Sfiso and Hodzo. Are you two living your democratic dream?
Let me jump in. I think I am living a democratic dream as Sifiso personally. But I still feel like maybe it's because of how fortunate I became, accessing higher education and further having guts to kind of access and exploit opportunities that were there then in the early 2000s, and translating them into businesses. I think I come from an environment of agriculture. I'm an animal scientist by profession. I moved swiftly to entrepreneurship. I then got my master's in business incubation management, but I felt like I had a responsibility because not a lot of people were having those experiences that I was having. And I felt like I needed to go back, you know, and take off my corporate head and the excess of money that I had at that time, and come back, not to become a spectator in the township and try to boast around of what I have, or point at this infrastructure and say, you know, I did this. I needed to come and actually start from the scratch and contribute meaningfully and help those that don't see the democratic dream to see it through our eyes and through us supporting them. So I am living a democratic dream in that way if I'm able to give other people opportunities and access.
Khotso? Nope.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Perfect. I think we're well on our way. We're almost there, but we're not there yet. But we're definitely on the right path. That much I'll guarantee you. If we can have, for an example, my wish, a lot of Vilagazi streets within the township, not only just this particular street, that will be the ultimate democratic dream for me, where we are having local products. I don't want to even say township, I mean local products on every single business opportunity. And my ultimate democratic, I think, dream would be the day I could distill and create my own gin. I want to be the first to create a distillery in Soweto, where we're going to obviously create the product from scratch and be able to supply it to the consumers within the local market. At the current moment, we still are outsourcing, but we are at the moment, you know, putting money aside and putting together a budget so that we will be able to buy the right equipment, so that we can be able to get the right skill to be able to cook the product, get it ready so that we can send it through to the consumer. But at the moment, we are on the right track. I believe all of us on this, you know, on this call, somewhere, somehow, we are here connecting at different levels, but with one content meaning. We are definitely on the right track.
100%. I also just want to say to all of you that I think job. Now for Cass and Pumzile, I want to ask you, what do you think needs to be done in order to get the youth in townships, Black youth, anywhere else, to a point where they can be successful, where they can start businesses and be successful?
Well, for me, it's a very simple thing. It's about trust and ensure trust, and how do you sort of build relationships. And the only way you can do that, in my view, is by being on the ground. And so the one thing that I sort of truly believe in is, if you say you're going to do something, deliver. So I think a lot of young people, in my view, don't understand what consistency is. So governments are inconsistent. Sometimes schools and parents are inconsistent. But if you offer them a consistent, simple message, that embeds trust, that builds trust. And I think anything can be built on trust, absolutely anything. So that's my sort of focal point.
Perfect. Pumzile?
For me, it's about exposure to the right information, tools, even just exposure to the right mindset. And I want to move away from inspiration as being the perception or yeah, what could be perceived. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, you know, inspiration. We are all inspired by different things on a daily basis, but having an exposure with an end goal in mind, I think differentiates between somebody who's got an idea and somebody who executes it, because your idea doesn't necessarily have to be first in the market, brand new out of the box. It's just a matter of you literally taking the first step. And the moment you put yourself out there is when things now gravitate towards you. And it does not necessarily have to be from a financial perspective. It could be from opportunities, from linkages, from information. As soon as you put yourself out there, I think, and you put your intentions out, then things would start following you. I think, of course, having access to resources is very, very important. And you need to be clear around what it is that you're looking for, what those resources are to you, and how you can actually use those resources to your advantage. But resources must also not be confused with richness. You know, resources can literally be switching from what you would spend on WhatsApp on a conversation to uh, getting onto somebody's LinkedIn profile and have starting a conversation, and they might just need what you are prepared to sell to them. So that exposure and being surrounded by people who have either done things before, or where you're seeing there's an opportunity being created out of certain things, and actually making those connections yourself, little by little, in whatever way possible, differentiates between somebody who is doing something and somebody who isn't.
100%. I completely agree with you. One thing I've learned in my journey in life is that you cannot teach someone inspiration. You cannot force someone to be inspired, but you can offer resources, you can offer knowledge, you can share your knowledge. All right, I think we can wrap it up. Does anybody have any questions for any one of the businesses and wishes to collaborate? And then maybe Sfiso can give us a closing statement, so you guys can go back to your businesses and make money.
It's not a closing statement. I think for me, it's you know, I just wanna, you know, give a big shout out to Kaz, you know, for the benefit of the colleagues, the two colleagues, is that Kaz is currently connecting with us from UK. We have forged strong relationships with Kaz, and I think he's been supportive, especially through this year June 16 event, to kind of, you know, support us through making this possible. And I just want to say to him, thank you so much. And for me as the blog shop, you know, we really appreciate that. And maybe I could use this also as my closing statement. I mean, to Koto, you know, we've been chatting for quite some time together with my business partner about the new opportunity of, you know, bringing the gene into our space and retailing it and putting it online. And, you know, I'm very thankful to Koto, because a whole lot of entrepreneurs, you know, when they have a good product, they tend to shy away from local outlets and actually using the local outlets as that distribution point. But you know, for us, you know, it's a very strong relationship that we are beginning to forge, and you know, I think we're gonna partner in many of them. And then to Pumzile, for us as the box shop, I mean, we have interacted with Pumzile in multiple levels, but I think it is to say to her, girl, you are quite bold, you know, to launch a business during the COVID pandemic. And I think for us, we admire that courage, and we just want to say we'll continue not to support, but to buy and make sure that we channel as many resources, as many individuals towards your business, because we can only, you know, succeed if we continue to do this kind of conversation, and also if we continue to drive market towards our own network. And I think for me, that's my parting words as the box shop and as Fiso.
Thank you. Any parting words from everyone else?
My parting words, I really apologize about sort of joining the conversation late. I'm definitely going to have conversations with everybody sort of following this, probably next week on June 16th or day after, because there's a lot in preparation towards that day. Soweto Surf is an inclusive brand. It's a community brand. So it's just not about myself. It's just not about skating. It's about young people it's about encouraging young people to gain access to things that they would like, things that they think are beyond their reach. So when I hear of you know, all the different sort of people that have joined in the conversation today, I'm quite clear in my head. Our paths will cross 100% in a very positive, productive way. And again, apologies about joining the conversation late. Thank you.
For me, it's just also just to tip my hat off to Spiso and the box shop team. It's a monument that I reference quite a bit, and it does actually symbolize, as you posed your question, Crystal, about the democratic dream, because it just symbolizes all the things that have connected Spiso and I from a socio-economic perspective, and having that vision to just create a solution where as many people can be economically emancipated as possible. So the continuous disruption, the continuous innovation, the continuous ways in which they are supporting small businesses, even if it's not from a resource perspective, but providing platforms such as this, and the many relationships that get formed on the basis of something like this that they would have facilitated, I think is just amazing. And I love the box shops culture, and just staying true to what makes Soweto what we know it to be. So I definitely look forward to the relationships that will be formed in the back end as a result of this platform.
Yes, hi.
Khotso,
Yes.
will you vote for us?
My parting words is all of us here connected in this call, we are nothing but an ecosystem within ourselves. And the most important thing is to join the links to form one chain that will be able to connect with another. I see the surf playing within the gene environment. I see me ordering all my garnishes with Pumzile. I see doing an event with Sfiso here at the box shop, being able to do a launch of the product. And through the means of surfing into the township market and having all these other products, we're nothing but an ecosystem within ourselves. We need to connect ourselves very well in order to be able to regenerate value and money within our skill set. So thank you to everyone. This has been nothing but an exciting call. I've been looking forward to it, and my wife has been laughing at me because I've been trying to practice. But thanks, guys. You're absolutely amazing. I respect every skill. I respect every person in this room. What you do, I completely take my head off to you. Thank you. Thank you for being unique. Thank you for being in business. Thank you for being black and proud.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone. Aluta continua and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Aluta continua right back at you, Honey Bunch. Thank you so much for that. We've just had the discussions, and luckily, and we are so proud to have our guest on board. And he is the founder, the CEO of Box Shop, and I'll allow him to introduce himself to you guys. So, sawubona baba.
Sawubona sisunjani?
Ngiyaphila njani?
Ngiyaphila nami.
Sila, because of you, you're one of the strong people that have given us the platform.
Hey, I'm part of the collective, eh?
Yeah, but a very
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But yeah, igama lami uSifiso, Sibongo Moyo, born, brought up in Soweto.
yes.
So basically, I couldn't pull this off together by myself. So I've had great people behind us. You know, we've got multiple funders as a box shop.
Yeah.
But for here and for its growth, I think it needs to have the one that leads it into that direction. So it's myself and Ben.
Yes.
We are both partners. But yeah,
So we've just had the clip right now, the overview of the clip. So what was your take on it? If you can just take us through that.
I think it's a conversation that we should start having as frequent as possible, if we may. Because I think it's about time that we should have honest conversation with young people, and also honest conversation about, you know, the potential of growth, and also motivating each other and saying, even, you know, as hard the times are, but we can still prevail and come up with good ideas and be able to share it with this
And move forward, find obstacles in moving forward. Yes,
True,
within
true.
the challenges that we are faced with.
True,
Yeah.
they are there. They're not going away. They might be teaching us a whole lot of lessons about ourselves. So we just have to embrace it and make sure that we pass through them stronger.
Okay, I think what I'd like to ask is that briefly, can you tell us about Epoch Shop? Like a small snippet of it.
So Epoch Shop, it's a test market. We call it a test market in multiple facade of services and products. So you'll have an element of retail, and we are available online. You can retail products that have been manufactured by the locals.
Okay.
And the one that feels like they want to make statements through clothes, and our craft. And then you've got guys that are in media, and their obsession is content.
Yeah.
And we want to get that content out there, so we give them that market, and we give them.
So it's a creative space.
It's a creative
creatives.
space. It's an access to market platform that allows multitude of people to kind of connect and link with each other, and also link up with the market.
Yeah. Okay, I hear you. And one of the things that we had earlier on, and I'm sure you guys saw, there was an interview earlier on, and we were graced with ENCA that was here, and they granted us with an interview. So how was that experience?
It's a great experience, especially with pandemic. We didn't expect the media to come through, but ENCA has been part of us one way or another indirectly. They covered the launch of Epoch Shop. It's good that they are coming 5 years after, everything, and they are here to just ask us about how we're doing.
Yes.
And they're checking up on us. So it was a great interview. I really
And it's nice that people are actually watching the growth.
People need to look out for it tonight.
Hey.
Prime time,
Hey.
6, and then also about 9. I think from 6, 7, 8, 9.
So they'll be
10.
watching whatever took place today.
Yeah, it's basically going to be part of inset of Prime News, where they'll talk
And
about
you
the
heard
June
it
16.
right here from the boss himself.
Yeah.
That by ENCA we're going to be going live this evening. So everybody else who missed certain sections of the show, please make sure that you go on live and you check that out on this evening when
This
they go
evening,
live. Yes.
Yeah, this evening they can check it out. Google channel 401 or something.
Yeah.
403. But
And if not, you know.
yeah,
ENCA,
you know, or ETV.
Exactly.
Or ETV. But yeah, shout out to ENCA.
Yeah.
Siyababonga ukuthi bazile and they chose our story. Yeah.
Sibonge wena yet again, Baba.
Thank you,
Sibonge
sister.
wena with your partner, Upen. Thank you for the opportunity, for gracing us with the fact that we can be here in this space, and you guys have allowed us to be here in this space, in this umbrella, this beautiful umbrella, and people will continue to get to know more about Epoch Shop and whatever it offers. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much.
And I think next segment that we're going to, we'll be going to an interview. We've got one of the artists that has a show. There's a live performance that's coming up, right? So to my understanding, I think that's the next thing that we're going to head over to. So thank you very much, and still stay tuned, and we'll take it from there. Thank you, guys.
And we chill. Live and direct, this is Aqua L. Shout out to the Black Box, the Box Shop, for putting me on the spot. We live. I'm gonna take y'all on the journey. Let's do this. Aqua season, so facetious, flowing over Egypt, over weekends. Moms over weeping, crystal math, pistol blast, domes be leaking, all we grieving. Music therapy, use telepathy to navigate the Joburg scene, and so it seems that it's so extreme. Through gas masks we slowly breathe, cause the toxicity of the city be fogging the screen. I mean conversations we had and everything in between. I'll be a symbol of hope when it purple rains, cause where I'm from mothers drop tears just to murder pain. I showcase my old face through a mirror glass, no strange. Just young bloods with cocaine, tattoos to show name. I'm from the same block where they popped Lucas, the same blocks where my pops taught me how to be a sharpshooter. Hey yo, OB, let's do this. Sir, yes, sir. Listen. You keep preaching that I need to survive and keep breathing. Make me soul of my pride, my speech even. Infinite rhyme styles designed to exist beyond these measured timelines. Yo, we deciphering ciphers in the high rise to escape Hades. From the bus stop to the train station, my brain pacing from all of this rage caged in. I drew life's inspiration from ink pages. By channel surfing bootleg motherboards, my pen scribbles are riddled with pros and cons. I flow beyond Joburg's frozen pond, and flashbacks of where we've been before. It's sniffing dogs in the schoolyard. Drug evasion, maladministration. It's tycoons with new cars, young girls with new scars. The city has no pity for those that crash and burn. A pixelated animal that's animated in truth. Yo, this pickpocketing monopoly system is hella wicked. Cause poverty-stricken families be pinning the last hopes on the lottery ticket. My modesty thickens. You are a commodity which is expendable. The toxicity of the city be fogging the screens. The toxicity of the city be fogging the screens. Listen. Civilized chaos depicted when raindrops wet the picket fence, which extends the flight mode of pigeon trends. The plot thickens when the glare blurs my vision lens. Aqua L voice prints are audio poison. Gas mask and flashback, cipher lab rats, metal scrapyards, flash flood, breadcrumb, wireless death drug, window halo payphone, skyline rainbow, a misfitting parody of processed medicine, causing societal panic, rational rations of crack and metal fabric. It is said that silence is golden, highlands are broken, my words are deeper than tattoos in the fallopian. Ethiopian tree line is my family system, so when night falls and tragedies whispered, you can hear the hummingbirds from a syntax of an error. The microphone is calligraphy. We teaching you what the street needs to know. Aqua L microphone, let freedom glow. The light is here, appears to the sky. Shout out to everyone listening. Shout out to everyone watching. I go by the name of Aqua L. Shout out to OB. Hey OB. Let's move on to the next one. Rhythm and poetry in motion. That's what's up. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you got your champagne glasses up. Yeah. One love. I'm on my 16s, I got my Jesus piece. I need to radiate and set the record straight. I hit the liquor hard for my dead homies. I came from the 6, I need a bad chick. I've been underground and I ain't selling shit. I need a hit record, play it in the club so y'all can show me love. And then I get the buzz and then get faded until I pass out. I need that black card, the trust fund money, a yellow bone chick, a house on a hill. I need that big chain, I need that big range. I need some big change, about 20 mil, rolling on my wrist, sipping Hennessy, but don't carry on. I need a G-star and get my swagger on. I need to keep it real, I need to make it rain all night long. I gotta get it, I gotta get them J's, I gotta get that swag, I gotta get that crib, I gotta get that jag, I gotta get it, I gotta hustle hard, I gotta get it. Yeah, I gotta get it, I gotta get them kicks, I gotta get them J's, I gotta get that car, I gotta get that swag, I gotta get that walk, I gotta get it, I gotta hustle hard, I gotta get it. Josie nightlife, Triple M Beamer, 645, modern day blesser, keep the tables flooded. We be in the club with them red bottoms, and they all studded. Now we all studded. We be hood rich with them hood chicks. Party all night. Wake up in the morning, hit a little reefer, paper stack of mail. I gotta pay the bills, I gotta make a meal, get my point across on the rosary. God bless us all. Homie bought a crib up in Southern Hill. That's a black diamond, that's a black shining, black on black violence. Yes, we call it champagne. We call it champagne. Cause we gotta celebrate life, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I gotta get that J's, I gotta get that swag, I gotta get that crib, I gotta get that jag, I gotta get it. I gotta hustle hard, I gotta get it. Yeah, I gotta get it. I gotta get them kicks, I gotta get them J's, I gotta get that car, I gotta get that swag, I gotta get it raw, I gotta get it. I gotta hustle hard, I gotta get it. When I say champagne, y'all say. When I say champagne, y'all say live. Champagne, champagne. When I say champagne, y'all say live. Champagne, champagne. That's what's up, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are enjoying the session. Shout out to the Box Shop. Shout out to Big Mike. Let's move on to the next.
And shout out to all of you guys for tuning in. It's been absolutely lovely. That was Aqua Al with Champagne Live. Some of the live music that we've been bringing you today. It is still the June 16 Youth Mbizo. And you want to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that, you know what, keeping it real, keeping it live. Please, you can follow us on all our social media streams at The Box Shop Lifestyle, at Soweto_surf, at WeUprising Youth. So that's what it is. And we've got a DJ, ne? Bamita DJ D Boy Mashesha.
Hello, Diba Mashesha, Mission Mashigisha, Tut Mashesha, Ngoma Villa Mashigisha, P-Town better rap, better realize, better recognize. #truth.
#truth. I love your outfit, hey. I love yellow in general, but I'm loving this big poofy, you know. So there's a lot of clothing here for males. Is there anything here that caught your eye?
Where's King straight up? I remember the last time I was here, there's a nice number out there. I posted it on my Instagram. #. I was like, you know what, if I was a lady, I was it's right about there. It's got like a nice floral type of vibe, same time like the shirt. I was like,
Okay. And then wait again, what the wena otameka futuristic music. So, Kengi, what was the genre?
Trip hop, future beats. Trip hop and future beats. I'd rather keep it at there. So I don't want to go, trip hop and future beats. I'm telling you. The # one way, man. So I'm planning to bump it up. Vandaag is going to be a damn hashtag. Because I live in the area until like 1976. Until it means something for me. Until plus one of my mom was also part and parcel of like the Shandis until like real talk, she wasn't there. But my uncle, she wasn't there until but my uncle like Salabam Twara until. So # real talk. So I'm from the vicinity. So every time I fit someone, I've always been like, oh man, like a lot of great people did a lot of things. Every time when I tell people, even at work and all of that, I always tell them, you know what, man, like I come from P-Town. Do you know who comes from P-Town? Mandela. Imagine like all of these places from the Eastern Cape. Out of all the places he could have chosen, P-Town. So rapping P-Town, I'm the next wave.
Next wave, you heard it right there. We're keeping it real, we're keeping it live, and we're thinking we're getting it. Because youth, we are the bag. That's why we're securing the bag, eh? So enjoy, guys. Maybe rita chayvanyana, you know. I love trip hop.
Hey, oh, hey, no, oh, what'd you do?
Yeah, look, fuck all that happy to be here shit that y'all want me on. I'm the big homie, they still be trying little bro me dog. Like I should fall in line. Like I should alert niggas when I'm about to drop something crazy and not say I'm the greatest of my generation. Like I should be dressing different. Like I should be less aggressive and pessimistic. Like I should be way more nervous and less dismissive. Like I should be on my best behavior and not talk my shit and do it major like the niggas who paid the way for us. Like I didn't study the game to the letter and understand that I'm not doing it the same and I'm doing it better. Like I didn't make that clearer this year. Like I should feel, I don't know, guilty for saying that. They should put a couple more mirrors in here so I can stare at myself. These are usually just some thoughts that I would share with myself, but I thought fuck it, it's worth it to share them with someone else other than Paris for once. I text her from time to time, she a mom now. I guess sometimes life forces us to calm down. I told her that she could live with me if she needs to. I got a compound, but I think she's straight. She supported since Hobbies right before Wayne came and got me out of the back room where I was rapping with jazz over beats that I shouldn't have in the hopes for the glory. He walked right past in the hallway 3 months later. I'm his artist, he probably wouldn't remember that story. But that shit stick with me, always couldn't believe when he called me. You never know it could happen to you. And I just spent 4 Ferraris all on a brand new Bugatti and did that shit cause it's something to do. Yeah, I guess that's just who I became, dog. Nothing was the same, dog.
I got Grey Goose in my system and I'm trying to give a fuck. Cause I'm a lawyer tonight and hate you when I wake up. Girl, do you feel how I'm feeling, baby? Give me some of your love. Come give me some of your love. Come give me some of your love. Cause it's on. Turn on the radio, baby. I'll turn you on. Just make sure you're ready, baby. Cause I'm down for anything. Tell me when you're ready, baby. Timing is everything. Tell me when you're ready, baby. Cause you know when it's up. Get me where you know, you know, you know, you know, you know I need it. Get me where you know, you know, you know, you know. I got Grey Goose in my system and I'm trying to give a fuck. Cause I'm a lawyer tonight and hate you when I wake up. Girl, do you feel how I'm feeling, baby? Give me some of your love. Come give me some of your love. Come give me some of your love. Oh yeah, cause Jesus turned his water into wine. Put some rum in my ear, I mix my liquor. Fuck them other niggas, yeah. Jesus turned his water into wine. Put some rum in my ear, I mix my liquor. Don't be fucking other niggas' ways, oh. Can you wear it? You know, you know, you know, you know, you know, my baby, keep it low. Can you wear it? You know, you know, you know, you know, you know. I got Grey Goose in my system and I'm trying to give a fuck. Cause I'm a lawyer tonight and hate you when I wake up. Girl, do you feel how I'm feeling, baby? Give me some of your love. Come give me some of your love. Come give me some of your love. Cause it's on. Turn on the radio, baby. I'll turn you on. 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 Keep the bells ringing for you. It's a celebration for you. And I promised you a good time. Is it a good time? No, you keep this. Can you wait? You know, you know, you know, you know, no, I need it. Can you wait? You know, you know, you kind of time. There's no other place I'd rather be. Laying with you between the sheets. This is how it all play out.
Better recognize.
friends gotta know it. I've been there before, so I know when you're just faking it. I can't believe I stay with you, the pain that I've been taking in. Oh, you move so fast, just don't forget. I was there to build you up and everything was a mess. I was dedicated to you. I cared about nothing but you. Know you. Know you. I don't mean to be mean, but I'm just gonna ignore you. Know you. Know you. I don't mean to be mean, but I'm just gonna ignore you. Know you. Know you.
Come on, can you hear me? Oh, oh, oh. Hey. on. Hey. God. Even if you don't have anybody to hug, man, hug yourself, man. Hey. Straight up. Straight up. You are. Hey.
You are. You are. You are. You are. You are.
Busy, the schedule busy. My daddy not hoodie, my shorty the goodie. My cousin is crazy, my cousin like boogie. Life is amazing, it is what it should be. Been here for 10, but I feel like a rookie. I tell her look up, cause it's snowing in Texas. But for 3 years, man, you can't even book me. It's me and Lil Baby, the going crazy. Weezy produced it, and Weezy have made me. And she had it down, so she got a Mercedes. No money records, the Army, the Navy. It ran me 10,000, I threw it like Brady. The phone in the yellow like Tracy and Katie. I trust in my they never betray me. Met all these, they sweeter than Sadie. When I started out, I just took what they never betray me.
Tell him I plug no starch, please. Soon as I you don't leave. Got M's in the bank like yes, indeed. Brand new whip, got no keys. Tell him I plug no starch, please. Soon as I you don't leave. Got M's in the bank like yes, indeed. Cardiac glasses, I won't even peek at you. Yellow Ferrari like Pikachu. I got no waiting and watching what he gon' do. Tryna be what I do, tryna steal my moves. 500 for a blue pair of tennis shoes. The same price that make the rings come finish you. Like being charged, he'll do it like a voodoo. Real dope, 100,000 in the Beezu. President's attention, I die, we don't see you. I been getting money, I ain't worried about what he do. Getting money, like I'm from the hate. Man, Dre about the top, and if you go crazy, they know I'm the truth. Coming straight from the basement, I'm straight as a street, but I'm far from the baby. I'm million all hundreds, then we gon' go crazy. When I have money, yeah, baby. Brand new whip, got no key. Tell him I play no sports, please. Soon as I you don't leave. Got M's in the bank, yes, indeed. Bitch, my life, the way it is, living like this. Brand new whip, got no key. Tell him I play no sports, please. Soon as I you don't leave. Got M's in the bank, yes, indeed.
Hard times like yeah, bad chips like yeah. Nazareth, I'm fucked up, homie, you fucked up, but if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
Hey, nigga, we gon' be alright. Hey, nigga, we gon' be alright. Hey, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. Oh, nigga, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
All's my life I has to fight, nigga. All's my life hard times like yeah, bad chips like yeah. Nazareth, I'm fucked up, homie, you fucked up, but if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you from the face down. One Mac 11, even boom with the bass down. Scheming, and let me tell you about my life. Painkillers only put me in the twilight. With pretty pussy and Benjamin is the highlight. I tell my mama I love her, but this what I like, Lord knows. 20 of them in my Chevy, tell them all to come and get me. Reaping everything I sow, so my karma come in heaven. No preliminary hearings on my record, I'm a motherfucking gangster inside. crisis all day. Won't you please believe when I say, when you know we've been hurt, been down before. Nigga, when our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? Nigga, and we hate po-po, wanna kill us dead in the street for sure. Nigga, I'm at the preacher's door, my knees getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright, right? Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. What you want? You a house, you a car, 40 acres and a mule, a piano, a guitar, anything. See, my name is Lucy, I'm your dog. Motherfucker, you can live at the mall. I can see the evil, I can tell it. I know it's illegal. I don't think about it. I deposit every other zero. Thinking of my partner, put the candy penning on the Rico, digging in my pocket. In a profit big enough to feed you every day. My logic, get another dollar just to keep you in the presence of your Chico. I don't talk about it, be about it. Every day a sequel. If I got it, then you know you got it. Heaven, I can reach you. Pet dog, my dog, that's all. Big back and chat, I trap the back for y'all. I rap, I black on tracks, so rest assured. My rights, my wrongs, I right till I'm right with God. When you know we've been hurt, been down before. Nigga, when our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? Nigga, and we hate po-po, wanna kill us dead in the street for sure. 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 Kill us dead in the street, kill us dead, 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 kill us dead in the street for sure. Nigga, I'm at the preacher's door, my knees getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
We don't need that much. Just love. We can spend a whole night in each other's arms.
But the music you can cry to, man. As I mentioned before, cry.
We don't need that much. Just love. We don't need love, but you don't
Muisa Makubu, man. Muisa Makubu, man.
Just you and I. You and I. Just go on. For this time, we don't need that much. Just love. We can spend a whole night with each other. If you want to. We don't need that much. Just love. We don't need love, but you don't know. Just love. Just you and I. You and I. Just go on. For this time, yeah.
Thank you.